I checked today, there were about 6,000 Scrum Master jobs in the market, right?
Wow.
There is a shortage. Each organization have been there to transform. We are standing up 100 teams. How do we get Scrum Masters to fill that role? So there is tremendous need and there's tremendous opportunity out there for organizations and for Scrum Masters as well.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on another episode of Iwing Marketplace Chit Chat, where we give the opportunities for entrepreneurs to talk about themselves and what they do, so you can learn from them or connect with them. Right here with me, I'm with Tobeh Joel. Tobeh, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be on your platform.
I'm glad. I'm really happy as well. And you're not just a member of the Iwing Marketplace community. You're my brother, so it's such a good thing when, families support each other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So there are quite a good number of people who will be meeting you for the first time. Can you just tell them who's Joel.Tobeh?
So people call me Dr.Joel.Tobeh, right? That is the name. But first of all, I'm a husband. I'm a father. Those are the two things that define the person. I am a minister of the gospel, and professional-wise, I'm an Agile Coach, right? And background, I come from Cameroon, Northwest Province, and Bamenda in particular.
Wow, that's amazing. I love the fact that you're very, very committed to what you do, Agile Coach, and you preach the gospel and all of that. That's amazing. So what inspired you to become an Agile Coach?
Very good question. So when I moved to the US, I moved to the US in the capacity of a teacher. I was teaching in high school, right? So as I was teaching in high school, a cousin of mine introduced Scrum to me. So, I heard about it. I didn't quite pay attention. And about 1 year later, some circumstances, the stress in the job led me, started looking and exploring other opportunities. I think there was this night that I was a little stressed and really frustrated with the way work had gone for that period. And I got up like 2 in the morning and I was looking at job opportunities. And then I ran into this job, right? I ran into this job ad. It was looking for a Scrum Master at Gulfstream in Savannah, Georgia. And they were paying $105,000 a year. And I was like, oh, wow. So this is something, maybe I should do this. And that was the path. And I later on, signed up for a class, went to Atlanta, took a 2-day class, came back, started interviewing, went through the process, and some 3 months later, I landed my first job.
Wow, that's amazing. You saw the opportunity, took the course, 3 months later, you got your first job. Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And now you have your own consulting company, training other people to become Agile Coach, which is also wonderful. But
yes, sir.
Can you tell me why you decided to set up your own consulting company to teach other people?
So when I got into the field and, I started as a Scrum Master, and because I realized that Scrum, because of our background, because of the things we do on a daily basis, it's not a lot different. There's just a difference in terminology. So when I started looking around me, I'm like, oh, this person too can become a Scrum Master. This person too can become a Scrum Master. So I started at that nuclear level, started introducing Scrum to whoever cared to listen, right? Doing this training, coaching, mentoring, and all of that good stuff. And then the people around me started landing jobs. And as the people around me started landing jobs, they started introducing me to other people, right? And that's how I call it a community. We have an Agile community of excellence. We call it being Agile. That is how the seed was sown. And then the community became so big. And now the mindset is like, how can we extend this beyond just the people we know so that other people can benefit as well?
Wow, that's amazing. And that's where LK Global come in. So can you tell me what's
Yes,
LK?
sir. Yeah.
What is, I mean, tell me a little bit about LK Global. What's LK Global all about? Help me understand.
The L is my little daughter. Her name is Lovely. The K is King, so it's Lovely and King Global. Global because the mindset behind the company, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than the people that we currently have now. We look into the future. We're talking about partnership. We're talking about transforming governments, organizations, and that's where the global piece comes into play. So that is LK Global.
Wow. So what are the various services you're offering at LK Global?
So LK Global, the first thing we do is we do training, right? People who are passionate about becoming Scrum Masters. We do mentorship programs, people who are passionate about becoming coaches, right? We work with Scrum Masters who have been doing Scrum for a while, then they want to get to the next level, right? We do that. But one of the things we do that is not really highlighted, and I guess we don't take credit for, is mindset modification, right? Because the first thing that needs to happen for you to get into this field is that you need to have a change in mindset. So until you have the change in mindset, you're gonna struggle a lot. So we also have a mentorship program, right? People who just want to talk career, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you just want to know what you want to do. You reach out to us, you talk to us, and we provide you that guidance. And we obviously provide guidance that goes way beyond Agile and Scrum in particular.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, if you're watching and you're thinking of, changing your career, Joel.Tobeh, Dr. Joel.Tobeh is the one you should be, talking to. So tell us about the Scrum course you guys have going on and the Agile course. When does it start?
So we start first Thursday of every month. So today is the last day for the February session. March session is going to begin on March 3rd. First Thursday, we usually have two classes a week, Thursdays and Saturdays. Thursdays at 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and Saturdays from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
Okay, that's really nice. Before we go into talking about landing the first Scrum job, which I think is one of our focus today, right? I just wish to know, like, I mean, there are lots of people out there who've heard about Scrum, they've done their own research, and they're probably looking at different institutions. What I'd like to know is like what makes LK Global different from other institutions, and what are the benefits students will get when they come to your institution?
So we are people first, right?
Mm.
The greatest desire that myself as a person that I have is the day one of my candidates call me and tell me, hey, I finally gotten that offer. The joy supersedes the joy that I have when they register for the class and they pay $1,000, right? So we are people first. I no disrespect to any other program out there. We have like 80% of our candidates coming to us from other programs. We've had many people who've come to us like, hey, I did Scrum in 2019. I'm unable to land a job. I've done Scrum since 2020. And I would say about 60% of people that we've successfully placed are people who have that background. And I usually tell them, I offer one guy, I'm like, hey, I'm going to ask you to be humble enough, just come sit in the class and pretend as if you've never heard about Scrum. And the feedback they always give us after the very first class is that now I see why I'm unable to get a job. So that's part of the job we do. The second is that we do not leave you hanging, right? It's not like you come to us after 1 month, you go your way. No, we have other things that we do. We stay in touch with our candidates, right? We have this community of excellence. Beyond your 1 month program, we meet with you every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That platform has about 50 people, and all of the people are people who have gone through our program, right? We come back on Wednesday, we share the way our week has been. People share challenges they've had. Just There's just a lot of resources to be had from that platform, right? And that is how we strengthen people. That is how we enable people to grow in the field. That is how we enable people to defend the title as a Scrum Master. So nobody can beat that.
Wow. You mentioned about many people come to you and they always say they have like challenges and they've been into other places and they've not been able to get a job. What are some of the roadblocks that they've mentioned why they've not been able to get a job?
So many people struggle with resumes, right? And one of the things somebody tells me, hey, I've done Scrum and, I'm like, okay, so what stage are you in? I'm taking interviews. Let me take a quick look at your resume. We take a look at the resume is out of work. So what happens now is that there is now technology, there is a passing system. What I mean by that, when you apply for a job, there is not a human being sitting on the computer and going through those resumes, 300 resumes, right? So the first thing we've done is that we've designed a resume that can go through that passing system. And at least you're going to get a call from the recruiter, right? And our candidates will tell you when they apply for 5 jobs, at least 3 is going to call them and it's like, hey, we want to talk to you. We've put in that time to build those kind of resumes, right? The next thing we do, they tell us about is that they don't have a very deep knowledge and understanding of what Scrum is about. If you want to become a Scrum Master, you at least need to understand what Scrum is. And I just don't mean in segments. I mean end to end, the entire process. How does it fit in, right? How does it fit in even to your life as a person? So I remember I took this Agile coaching interview and I was just discussing with a guy and he tells me, what is Agile and Scrum to you? I'm like, hey, this is something that we even use in our household, right? You simplify it that way, and I begin to tell him how every month myself and my wife we have a retrospective, which is one of the key things in Agile and Scrum because it's all about people getting better, right? You need to do a retrospective, and we sit and we ask ourselves, hey, what have we been doing over the past month? Is it working? Do we need to persevere, keep doing that, or do we need to pivot and change direction, right? When people have this end-to-end understanding of what Scrum basically is and how they can apply it even to their lives, it changes interviews from somebody asking you a question and you responding to a discussion. And if you can succeed to do that, you're at least 75% guaranteed that you're going to get a job.
Wow, that's amazing. So what are some of what have you been able to impact to them, and what did they say after going through that transformation, that coaching with you?
So let me give you this testimony, right? So one of my candidates that landed a job last year reached out to me yesterday, and there was a question about daily stand-up. Those who don't know about Scrum, is a 15-minute meeting the team has every day that they inspect the progress they're making towards achieving a stated goal, right? And he was like, his supervisor is saying, why do we need to have this meeting every day, right? Can we not have it 2 times a week? Can we not make it 5 minutes instead of 15 minutes? And he was like, he wants to get my point of view. So I was chatting with him. I'm like, remember, Scrum daily stand-up gives us an ability to inspect the progress we're making towards a sprint goal, right? And it lets us see if we have any challenges or roadblocks so we can be proactive against mitigating the same. And when I had the conversation with him, he took a screenshot of the message he had made and sent to his supervisor, and it was the same thing, right? And that is what we are all about, right? We are trying to impact people to be able to go out and change organizations. Because let us pause for a minute. Let's talk about why Agile is here, right?
Yeah.
And Scrum. Bad organizations used to do what we call waterfall, right? If you want to develop a project or a product, it costs them 5 million and it takes them 2 years to do that. The only time customers are going to have their hands on that product is after 2 years. And you know what happens? At the end of 2 years, the product isn't delivered. Nobody understands when the final product is going to be delivered, right? Scrum is coming in place with the incremental delivery. We are getting our products to our customers as soon as possible. It's bringing visibility into the whole process. So organizations are seeing tremendous benefit implementing Agile and Scrum. At least 26% reduction in project costs. That is massive. So I tell people, hey, a 5 million project, for instance, well executed in Agile is going to end up costing about 4 million. You have 1 million going back into the coffers of the organization. So you are a need, you are imperative in the overall success of the organization, right? That is a mindset we need to have. And you need to get people in the place where they understand why they are there and the benefit the organization is having from them. Then they can drive the organization towards success. And that is what organizations are looking for.
That is amazing. I would like to go back to this question, right? This is a personal question. Do you think it's important for, small business owner just to study Scrum in order to take advantage of all these benefits that you've mentioned, like reducing cost, being efficient, able to deploy product in less than no time? What's your opinion on that?
Yes, everybody should go agile, right? Everybody is actually going agile. The government is going agile. We are seeing agile being implemented in healthcare, agile being implemented in education, right? What agile does is that it does some basic things, like I talked about visibility, I talked about transparency, I talked about being able to manage changing priorities. Now, let me talk about changing priorities for a minute, right? So most organizations out there, it's not like a group of high school students just sitting in the basement or somewhere trying to do something nice, right?
Right.
We are constrained by changing business conditions. Think about COVID. Think about the changes that have happened because of COVID. Maybe if we were in 2019, we would have been doing this interview in person, right? But
Right.
because of the constraints, is push organizations to adapt to ways that permit us to deliver value in our customers in diverse ways, right? So each organization now, while thinking to be competitive in these diverse changing conditions, one of the tools that they can have is to go agile. And that is why I checked today there were about 6,000 Scrum Master jobs in the market, right?
Wow.
There is a shortage. Each organization have been there to transform. We are standing up 100 teams. How do we get Scrum Masters to fill that role? So there is tremendous need and there's tremendous opportunity out there for organizations and for Scrum Masters as well.
Guys, if you're listening and you're thinking about changing a career, I bet you Joel.Tobeh, Dr. Joel.Tobeh is someone you have to talk to, and Scrum Master, Agile Coach. He just said it. A lot of opportunity. So let's take advantage of this. So let's go back to landing your first job as a Scrum Master. What are the job interviewers looking for in most cases when they're interviewing people?
All right, so I'm going to talk about it in twofold. Some basic people who are just going agile, they are looking for somebody who understands what Scrum is, how to man the various ceremonies or events, and ensure that they are meeting the objectives of the event, right?
All right.
Other organizations that have had a deep understanding of what agile is, they are looking for some basic things like somebody who is just nice to people, somebody who is respectful, somebody who has the ability to communicate, somebody who is a servant leader who can lead from the back, right? So servant leader in contrast to a project manager where you give directions and show people how to do things and hold their hands and boss them around. A servant leader leads from the back, right? You mentor and coach people. So organizations are just looking for all of that. So now it comes, we tell our candidates, how can you bring together the best of both worlds? You have the personality that they are looking for and those interpersonal skills, and yet you have a deep understanding of what Scrum is. If you put that together, you're going to excel. There is no way you're not going to excel in this field.
And is experience, like having 5 years experience or having 2 years experience, does it matter when you're applying for a Scrum job?
So the first thing people need to understand is that our program puts you in a position to get the skills that equate to those 5 years of experience. And I say this jokingly because our program is quite intense, right? Our program lets you get a deeper understanding of knowledge regarding what people and organizations are looking for. So when you go through this program, you have the opportunity to at least have an understanding of what 5 years of experience looks like, right? That is the
Right.
one thing. The second thing is that we build a portfolio that you have solutions to most of the challenges that when organizations are running Scrum they face. So that is what people are looking for, right? I've been in hiring committees and panels. That is what we're looking for. We really don't care about the number of years you've had. We need the knowledge, we need the personality, and then we need somebody who has a teachable spirit that, hey, I'm willing to learn, right? And when you
Right.
put yourself in that position, then you are able to land your first job.
So what are some tips that you would like to share to, people watching that, like people that have been going to many interviews and have not gotten any job? What are some tips that you can share with them?
The first tip is that they shouldn't feel discouraged. They should consider, and I tell all my candidates this, and I'm saying it now, that consider that period as your internship, right?
Right.
When you go through that process, it strengthens you. It forces you to do research. It forces you to have a deeper understanding of what Agile is. And when you finally land your job, it's like a walk in the park. And if we talk to my students, especially those who have taken a minute to get a first job, that is what they'll tell you. So I've had a candidate who I think she took 6 months to have a job. But guess what? Her first job, she had a coaching job. They hired
Wow.
mentors because the questions they are asking her or the challenges the organization is demanding her to fix are things that she has experienced during that internship. The only unfortunate thing is that you don't get paid during the internship.
Can you give a brief summary of what you said? The line went off and I got lost.
So I'm saying that candidates, when they are applying and taking interviews and they are facing challenges with landing their first job, they should understand that and consider that period as a period of internship, right? You know, when you go through an internship, right,
Right.
you're learning new stuff, you're building your personality, and they need to take each interview as a learning opportunity. So I'll tell you what. So I go to an interview and they ask me, for instance, what is a spike? Just out of curiosity. Somebody asked me, hey, what is a spike? And I've never heard about what a spike is, right? I need to go back
Right.
and do that research. I need to take the time, go back and do that research, such that the next time some other interviewer asks me about spike, I'm going to do such a tremendous job that it's going to put me in a better position. And personally, I remember going for my first in-person interview, and the interviewer asked me, if I have a strategic objective, how do I break that down to have a user story, right? That's going from like a funnel, right? From going from the biggest to the smallest. And I didn't know the answer to that. And when I came back and looked at the interview questions, I saw they were asking me agile coaching questions. And there were two things I could have done. I could have get beaten up and like, hey, no. But I'm like, let me go do research, right? So I went and did this research about how the requirements change from themes to epics to futures to user stories, right? And how those are different. I put that in my wallet, right? I used it as a bullet. I had it on the back of my pocket. And when I went for my second in-person uh, second in-person interview. The interviewer asked me, hey, how can you know if your team is going to deliver on an objective or not? So I'm like, hey, when you take a big piece of project, you need to break it down into epics, and those epics have sizes. And based on the history of my team and the velocity in terms of how much work they can deliver, I can make a projection of when I can deliver that big body of work. And if it's going to take me 4 or 5 sprints, for instance, the message I'm communicating to my leadership is that we need 6 sprints to do this work. And the guy looked at me, he's like, you're very, very knowledgeable about the way this thing is supposed to operate. And that was a turning point in the interview. And I landed my first job, which was paid $65 an hour at the time. And that was tremendous.
Wow, I love this tip that you've just shared. This is really, really wonderful. And Miss Dimples Love said, an interviewer asked me if we could link an epic to an epic in Jira. Thanks for that. So I don't know if that's the question she's asking.
Yes, if you can link an epic to an epic in Jira, that is the answer is yes, because we can have epics that have dependencies on one another, right? So dependency is, think about something you need to do before doing something else, as simple as that. Or if I'm dependent on something you're doing, or if you're dependent on something I'm doing. That is simply what dependency is. And yes, we need a way to show that epics are dependent in one another. Either it's dependent on or something depends on it. So yes, you can link epic to epics in Jira.
Wow, that's amazing. Miss Dimple, you got an answer to that question. I know you were just making a fun about what they asked, but I'm glad that Joel can also share that to our audience, But Joel, you've touched a lot of, you've said a lot of nice things. You've touched so many important points. And, this before we go, I'd just like you to say something to people out there, that would like to join your course. What do you have to tell them? Especially something that we've not mentioned throughout the conversation.
So the information I would like to share is that they can go to our website, lkgloballlc.com, and they're going to find out a lot of information about how to become part of this group. They can also contact us at info@lkgloballlc.com. They can also call me directly, text me, WhatsApp me, even if you don't want to join a class, if you just want to talk Agile, right? If you just want us to have a conversation about Agile, or if you don't even know if Scrum is a good fit for you. Because people tell me all the time, hey, I'm a CNA. Can I become a Scrum Master? Yes, you can. People tell me all the time, I'm in nursing, right? And I don't want to work all night. I want to become Agile. I want to become this thing called Scrum. And they just want to have an idea if it's a good fit for them. If you just want to have that conversation, regardless if you join our group or not, I'm more than happy to be there and provide that conversation, right? Because the mindset is all about transforming organizations and changing lives, right? That is what it's about. It regardless of if I'm doing it or if someone else is doing that, right? But there's a lot of opportunity, and of course we'll be humble and honored to serve you in your Agile and Scrum journey. But if you just want to talk Agile, you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to connect.
Wow, thank you so much, Tobeh, for sharing all this vital information with us. Thank you all for joining us today. Kiki Shaw, Braids, Linda, Joel, that's Tobeh wife. I see all the comments alike. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And I appreciate you for the opportunity.
It's a pleasure. Again, thank you all for watching. This video is going to be on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Iwing Marketplace, and please share this video so that somebody can also benefit from this information. Tobeh, Joel, you're doing a fabulous job. Keep moving, my brother. Keep helping our community. Thank you all again for watching, and we're out.